Hey all, here we are again. So I've had an order for a black tumbler, wine glass tumbler. So I don't know about you guys, but I always struggle with the blacks because they tend to look a bit flat under the epoxy. So I've got a few little tips and tricks that I'm going to try with this one. And I'm also going to use some new glitter that I've got from an Australian supplier, and it's glitter from Sparkles by CarrBee Designs. And Samantha is just lovely and really easy to deal with, and from the glitters that I've used of hers, just in little projects here and there, I've found them to be really, really beautiful. So this one that I want to try is called, you can't see that on there, but it's Great Ocean Road. So all of her glitters have an Australian themed name. And the reason I wanted to use this one is, I don't know if you can see the sparkle in that, but it's actually really sparkly. And I'm hoping that together with the other things that I'll be doing, that it'll be enough to make it really pop. So it's a medium cut glitter by the looks of it. It's not fine and it's not ultra fine, it's sort of that in between, and I'm hoping that it'll be enough to show. So what I've done so far is I've spray painted my cup black, and you can actually see places where I've sanded it and made a bit of a mess of it, and because it's under the black glitter, I'm not overly worried about it. If I was just doing mica powders over the top of this, I would definitely fix all of these little bits and pieces that you can see here, but because it's under glitter, I don't think that it will affect it at all. And there's actually a few little marks on the bottom here too. So what I've spray painted it with is the Rust-Oleum Flat Black. I like it because it's actually a paint and primer in one. And the reason I use the flat black is because the epoxy sticks to it a lot better. I've mixed up 2 parts of A and B of my epoxy. I mean, you know, parts A and B of my epoxy. And I don't, people ask me how much to use. I don't worry about that too much, because whatever I've got left, I tend to put into moulds. I haven't got one here at the moment, but I tend to just mix other glitters in with it and just tip it into moulds. So it's never wasted. I always find a use for it. The epoxy that I use is the Amazing Clear Cast. That's just part A. I've still got quite a bit left, as you can see, but I believe that they've changed the formula of it and it's actually quite stinky now. So I will potentially be looking at a different one to use when the time comes, which is really sad because I'm used to how this one reacts and works, and most people get like that with their epoxy. They know what it does under certain conditions, and it's hard to change. It takes a bit of time. So I have mixed this. I've let it sit there for a little while for the bubbles to kind of, you know, do what they want to do. Again, I'm not overly worried about the bubbles because it's all going to be under the black glitter. So I'll spread it on, glitter it up, and then let it spin potentially till this afternoon. It's 10:49 a.m. so I'll let it spin till this afternoon. I'll have a look at it, and then I'll do the next bit that I want to do to this cup. So I'll put some music on and glitter it up. My goodness me, would you look at the sparkle in that? That is just beautiful. So the glitter's on there. So because it's like a semi-chunky, what I want to do now is I want to put some gloves on, and I just very lightly pat it down so that there's no sharp bits sticking up, which will make putting the epoxy on a lot easier and less sanding actually. Just lightly patting it. I'm barely even touching it really, and I'm just going to run my finger around the rim here too, because that's also where the sharp bits catch when they stick up. I can't believe how much sparkle there is in that. It's just stunning. Just keep patting it down until I sort of get at eye level with it, and I have a look and see where the bits are sticking up mostly. And some bits will fall off, and that's okay. Because it's got a black base, you won't see that anyway. But I like to just pat it to make it easier so it's not so sharp. So I'll put some music on while I do the rest of this. Oh, and I did actually end up, when I put that layer of epoxy over it, I did end up hitting it with the heat gun a little bit because there was just a few more bubbles than I wanted. So, but as you can see, it doesn't really affect the final, the glitter stage. Like I said though, if it was under mica or something like that, I would have fixed up those marks, and I would certainly be getting all the bubbles out, because bubbles really stand out quite significantly under a smooth coat like that. So I'll put some music on while I finish patting it, and then I'll let that spin and come back this afternoon with my next layer. Back again. It's now 2:17 and it's completely dry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put another coat of epoxy over that and let that spin, I don't know, for another few hours until it's dry. And I probably won't sand this until tomorrow to give it a really good chance to dry properly. And it may not even need sanding because everything is really smooth, so there'll be a few little places where it's sticking up, so that might need sanding down, but I'll see how it goes. And then once I've sanded it, I'll put the decal on it and then see if it needs anything else in the final layer of epoxy. So I'll put some music on, put this epoxy over the top, and then let it spin till whenever. back again. Really annoyed with myself because I hit record, but for some reason the camera didn't actually record, and I didn't realize until I finished this whole step. So what I did from the last video was I let the cup spin for 24 hours. Then I gave it a light sand, another coat of epoxy over the top of that, and then I just sprinkled some Feather Bling angel dust around the bottom, as you can see, and sort of a little way up the cup. Really happy with this Great Ocean Road black from Sparkles by CarrBee Designs, because it hasn't gone dull, unlike a lot of blacks that do. But what I wanted to do now to add another layer of sparkle over the top, so I've put the decal on here now, so I wanted to put another layer of sparkle over the whole cup. So I've got some of this magnetic island from Sparkles by CarrBee Design, and it's like it's a holographic, very fine holographic glitter. And what I've done is I've mixed my epoxy, and I literally just used about, I don't even know if you can see that, but just the tip of the spoon, literally just that much in the epoxy. And I don't know if you can see the sparkle in there, but it's definitely got a sparkle to it. So I'm going to put that over the whole cup, and hopefully this will be the last layer. If not, I'll come back with a clear layer, but I'll put this on. I'll put some music on and put this over the top, and we'll see what it looks like, and I'll come back in a sec. Okay, so that's on there. It's really sparkly. I don't know if you can actually even pick that up on the camera. So what I did was I pretty much did a flood coat of epoxy over that, in the hopes that I won't have to do another layer to, you know, be another dimension on top of that, because I really like the way it looks now. And at the end there I had some left on my gloves, so I just kind of dripped it around the very edge of the rim where I could see that there was a few little gaps, so I like to just drip it into there. Again, this will spin now until what is it, 3:05. It'll probably spin until tomorrow. Give it a good chance to level out and do its thing, and then tomorrow I'll have another look at it. If it needs a final coat, I will do that. But it looks really smooth at this point, but I don't want to touch it. I can't touch it yet because, you know, obviously it'll upset the epoxy. So just going to let that spin, do its little thing, and then I'll have another look at it tomorrow. If you found the video helpful, thank you for watching, and just give it a thumbs up. Happy to answer any questions in the comments. Happy also for you to subscribe. Thanks for watching.